So good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you today on our channel. So today we are going to be looking at something very unique, and that's um, fully funded scholarship in Italy. And we're going to also consider the various options that are available out there. Like I've always said, there are quite a lot of opportunities out there. So the aim of this very session is to bring these opportunities to your doorstep so that you can access them and maximize. So I have a guest today, and man, it's such an honor to have this guest. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself very well to every one of us. So um, my guest is here. Let me not even mention his name. Let me. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chineye. Um, my name is Chinedu Ibe. I am a doctoral researcher in Bari with the University of Bari, Aldomoro, in Italy. I've been in Italy for close to 3 years now. So, as you know, PhD is 3 years in Italy, so I'm in my final year, almost rounding up. And I'm very happy and appreciative of this opportunity to share uh, the need to know about how to assess regional scholarships. First, how to be admitted to study in Italy for bachelor's, master's, and PhD, including postdoc studies, and then how to assess regional scholarships available for these studies. Thank you very much for having me, Dr. Chiney.
Okay, that's beautiful. Mr. Chinedu, we are glad to have you today. And then I think we'll be giving you some time to really share with us before we can take on some questions that we have here. And as we all know, Italy is not an English-speaking country, but I want to believe Mr. Chinedu would tell us how he navigated through all of this, and he's already in his final year doing his PhD research work. So, Mr. Chinedu, the floor is all yours. You're welcome, and then just fire up.
Okay. Without much ado, I can begin now. All right.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh, Before I say anything else, just like you already mentioned about the language, whenever anybody hear anything about Italy or studying in Italy, the first thing that comes to mind is Italy, and the language is Italian, is not English, and the person begins to wonder how he or she is going to cope with learning the language. But the thing there is, which people outsiders don't know, is that there are several universities and several courses hosted in those universities where the degrees are actually in English language, not in Italian. Depending on what you
Okay.
want to study, you might want to, your course might be, you might be able to find some universities where you can have your course being taught in English language.
Okay.
And you can also have it in some other universities being taught in Italian. Now, the fact that some universities teach it in Italian doesn't mean you're now exempted from studying the course if you still want to go there. But usually, my advice is to opt for those universities where your course is taught in English. It will be way easier for you. At that level, you will now know that you learning Italian is not really compulsory. It's just for you to be able to communicate and associate with the society, not really for your studies. Because if you opt for courses, your course in an Italian school, in a school where it is taught in Italian, it's going to be very difficult for you because it's going to be your first time of trying to get used to the language and all. Okay, having said, I'm just going to quickly rush through the process of getting admitted in an Italian university. And what you need to know and what you need to do. When I'm done with the admission to study, then we dive into the scholarship very quickly because we don't have much time. First, that I want to address is the admission application itself. Now, the admission application doesn't run all year round. There are specific points in a year where you have these applications going on. You just have to find out for yourself what you want to study or the university you want to go to know the period. But generally, between December and May, that is when you have the application periods. Between December and May. And to help you guys, the first thing I want to introduce now for you is a website where all the Italian universities are unified, where you can gladly, if you just log into that website, you'll be able to access any school whatsoever in Italy and see the options that you have. In that same website, you'll be able to know whether a course is taught in Italian or not, or English. You'll be able to know whether the course is has a limited access. Limited access meaning a specific number of persons that they want, in which case there is an exam to write.
Okay.
Or the course is unlimited, anybody can just apply. So far your documents, your papers are in order, you're going to get it. So this website is www.universitali.it. I don't know if I let me see if I can type it in the chat so that well I'll
Okay.
leave it
You
across
can.
from the chat.
Okay.
Hmm. www.universitali.it. If you enter that website, everything you need to know about studies in Italy is there. You will see where they have courses in English language. When you click it, it will bring out all the universities with all the courses, both bachelor's degree courses, master's degree courses, PhD courses that are taught in English, vocational studies that are in English language. So usually it's just best for you to go straight to that website and then look out for yourselves. Match all the courses and the titles you see there with what you studied, the area that you know that is very, very best for you. And once you identify anyone, then there is the website there of the university for you to click, and then it takes you straight into that university's website. So no need of going to Google to go and start asking Google plenty questions. How do I get to which universities are available? Everything is already prepared in that website, universally.it. I said punto. Punto is point. So please, whenever you hear me say punto, I mean point. The language has just.
At the end of today's class, you would have learned some Italian language.
Okay, so between December and May, you have the opportunity to find these courses. They are always available, and then choose the one you want and get into the application. Next point is the admission offer itself. If you satisfactorily find a course that you want and see how to go about it, it might require you to send your documents to maybe an email address that you're going to see there already written for you. And then they look at it and they tell you, good, you can go ahead and apply. We can take you. Next step is the admission offer. And this is usually between January and July. Okay. First of all, before I delve into this admission offer, let me give you a checklist of documents that you need to make this application. Okay. If you're going for undergraduate studies, this is what you need. You need an international passport. You need your WAEC, original WAEC document. You need your secondary school transcript. Some schools actually tell you to send your transcript from secondary school. Is still that WAEC that you have. If you know your WAEC, all your subjects are listed with the grades. It's the same document. Then you need recommendation letters from at least three teachers in your secondary school. Three teachers that they will sign on the recommendation letter, and the recommendation.
Okay.
Test scores. What do I mean by test scores? Some universities require a special kind of test for you to do. For Italy, I know you're familiar with IELTS, TOEFL, and all that for USA and the UK schools. For Italy, there's a test they call TOELC, TOLC. If you go on Google, you'll see, I'll give you the website later. But then TOEFL is a special kind of exam. Anytime you want, you register for it and write it. It's not as expensive as IELTS and TOEFL and all that. If you write TOEFL, it's just to test your English language to know if you're able to speak English. You're writing TOEFL now because you're coming from a country that has English only as an official language, not as a mother tongue. That's why you're writing TOEFL. And then sometimes they could ask you to write a motivational letter or letter of intent. Give them reasons why you want to come to study. If you're going for a master's degree, the documents you need are much quite simpler compared to bachelor's degree. Now you need your bachelor's degree certificate, you need your bachelor's degree transcript, you need a statement of purpose. That's what it's called. You should be able to, in one page, convince the people you're writing to why you want to study the master's degree course and why you've chosen that particular university, that particular department to study that course. And you need your curriculum vitae, emphasis on curriculum vitae. There's a special kind of curriculum vitae, the Europa CV, which you must have. If you go to Google and type create my Europass CV, Google brings out a template for you. You just enter your details and it generates your Europass CV for you. There's no stress on that one. Then you need recommendation letters too from two lecturers at least in your from your bachelor's degree. Some universities will require IELTS, but most universities at this level will tell you to just get an English proficiency certificate from your university that says that you were taught in English language. English language was the medium of instruction when you did your bachelor's. This particular document, usually most Nigerian universities, it comes with your transcript. Okay, when you're applying for a transcript, you also tell them, I need English proficiency certificate. And then they give it to you together alongside. Most universities in Italy, this is what they prefer. And the next one is your international passport, of course, and then your normal passport photo in white background. That's all for masters. PhD is on another level. There's another website altogether, which I'm also going to give you, where you have all the schools unified, where they bring out the adverts for PhD for specific areas of specialty if you want to go for a PhD. Now, the next step, when you have been offered an admission after your application, after that admission, there is a step before visa. That's what we want to talk about now. After admission, before you apply for visa, what do you do? Now, when you have been offered an admission, when they have looked at your documents and they say you've been admitted, just basic steps you need to do before you go and ask for your visa. That's how Italy is different from other countries like the UK, the US, and all that. First thing you do is you go to that same website where you saw that university that I mentioned earlier, universitali.it. You go there and do something that they call pre-enrollment. You pre-enroll yourself. You click on that university. You click. You see, it's an the website at this point is user friendly. You can actually navigate it and pre-enroll yourself. Now, I must say, if you want to navigate any website in Italy for Italian universities, it's advisable for you to use Google Chrome. Don't use Mozilla. Don't use
Okay.
Firefox. Don't use which other one? Any other? Use Chrome. Why? Because anything you're getting out from any Italian website is going to be in Italian, and you will not understand the language. That's it. Once it comes out, you will even be discouraged when you see that it's in Italy. But what Chrome does for you is to automatically translate the page that you've brought out. It translates it to English and it will ask you, do you want to automatically continue translating this? You just click yes, and then that's it. Anything you bring out is in English. That's why Chrome is advisable. Now, when you go to that Universally website and pre-enroll, the essence of pre-enrollment is the people in charge of universally.it will send your pre-enrollment to the university. And because that university has actually asked you to pre-enroll, they will see your document and they will tell Universally, yes, we have asked this person to pre-enroll. Just send his or her pre-enrollment document to their embassy in the person's country. Okay? So universally.it sent your pre-enrollment document to the Italian embassy in Nigeria. So when the Italian embassy receives it, they are now waiting for you to come and begin your visa process. That's why this particular step is advisable. Now, when you've done that, the next thing is to gather your documents and go and authenticate them. Authentication of documents is done in Abuja, Federal Ministry of Education. That's where you authenticate your educational documents. Now, the documents to authenticate, I've listed some documents out for you before. But now, when you're going for authentication, if you're going for, let me start with a master's degree, you need your birth certificate, you need your WAEC original, you need your bachelor's degree certificate, and you need your bachelor's degree transcript. These four documents, those are the only documents that you need. Now, when you get to Ministry of Education in Abuja, it's Ministry of Education, of course. So the documents you authenticate there are basically educational documents. Birth certificate is not an educational document, so you don't authenticate birth certificates there. They only authenticate your WAEC and your bachelor's degree certificate and your bachelor's degree transcript. That's it. Then after that, you go to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's your next port of call. Ministry of Foreign Affairs will also authenticate all the documents, both your birth certificate and the educational documents, which is already authenticated at Ministry of Education. Now, what the Foreign Affairs is saying is that these documents are valid and they can be used anywhere in the world. So they authenticate it. After that authentication, the next step is to go and translate all those documents. Yes, you translate all of them to Italian. Now, don't be scared because you're not the one doing the translation by yourself.
I guess that's the sixth step now that you've
Yes,
mentioned. The sixth
yes.
step.
There are already available translators, official translators, which the Italian consulate in Nigeria has already listed out for people to go to, and they will translate their documents for them. Except you're very, very good or so good in Italian, then you might want to translate by yourself. But the risk there is if you finally go to them at the embassy and they spot even a full stop error where you're supposed to put full stop and you didn't put full stop, they'll send you back. And that will now begin to delay your time and you waste your resources and all that. So your best bet is just scan all your documents and send them in an email to the translators. You don't even need to go and meet them for anything. You just send it as an email to them, the scanned copies, and then they translate it for you and they send it back to you. When they send it back to you through email, you print it out, and then that's it. You're ready to go for the next step. That next step is called legalization of your documents. Step 7.
Sorry, I would have preferred you tell us the costs alongside.
Ah,
Like
okay.
this calculation, what's the relative cost?
Okay. Step 5 and step 6 will cost you a total of 30 to 40,000 naira. Now,
By that, you mean the
step 5
Ministry of
is, yes, step 5 is the mini
Foreign Affairs and the translation.
translation of these documents. It will cost
Okay. Okay.
Because of course it's your document and it's original. They just want to put a stamp on it. That's all. So for that step 5, when you're now finally ready for legalization of the document, it is the embassy themselves that legalize the document. So your documents now are your original copies, which have been authenticated in Abuja, remember?
Yeah.
And then the translated copies. Actually, the ones that the embassy legalizes is those translated ones, because of course it's an Italian consulate. They don't deal with English language. All your documents are in English language, so they authenticate the one that is in Italian. What this now means is after that legalization, the original documents now which you're going to Italy with are those translations that you have because they are in Italian. That's the one that when you enter Italy, anybody that sees it will understand. So, how do you go for legalization? You don't just go to the embassy or the consulate like that and tell them you want to legalize your document. No. You send them an email. The email of the embassy in Lagos, Italian consulate in Lagos is lagos.console@esteri.it. You send them an email. When you send them an email, you tell them, I humbly request for an appointment to legalize my document. I am so so and so person. This is my passport number. Please, I need an appointment. Anyhow you want to put it. So they will reply you and give you a date and tell you, come to the embassy and legalize your document. Now remember, they already have that's your pre-enrollment document which your university sends to them when you enter that universally.it to do your pre-enrollment. The embassy already has it, so they have been waiting for you to come and do this process with them. So when you get there, you just give them all the documents that you have, the original copies and the translations which have been authenticated. Now, at the consulate, legalization of documents is free. Legalization of educational documents is free. What they will now come and start charging you is a document like your birth certificate is not an educational document. They will charge you, I think the cost is for that document is 9,000 naira, and that's what they charge me in my own time. Now, there is aside from your birth certificate, there is no other document that you have that is not educational document. If you want to legalize any affidavit, maybe in your WAEC, you are answering Okonkwo, and in your international passport, let's say you were answering Okonkwo and you got married, and you are now answering Okeke, and you have an affidavit of change of name, they will charge you also for that affidavit because it's not an educational document. But then any educational document you're legalizing at the embassy is free. So when they give you an appointment, you try as much as you can to be there on time, at least 30 minutes before the time. You have to be there at least 30 minutes before the time and go with everything. When they legalize your documents for you, you're now ready to apply for visa. There is no other hitches. They give you back the documents like after 3 days of your application. So you now go straight to apply for visa. The visa application procedure is not difficult because you've already, the most difficult aspects, you've passed all of them, which is the authentication, legalization, and all that. That's where the stress is. And you have been able to surmount all of them. To apply for visa, what you just need is fill the application form for the visa and you attach all those documents that they legalize for you. You just attach them and give it back to them. That's your visa application. The only tricky thing about this visa application is that they want you to prove that you have feasible amount of money that can take care of you when you arrive Italy for at least 1 year. Okay? I'll still talk about scholarship and how scholarship, affects all these things. But at that point, you wouldn't have gotten a scholarship yet. Based on the time, you don't have gotten a scholarship yet. So you have to prove to the embassy that somehow,
Can
somewhere,
you also tell us the amount?
I will tell you, I will say the amount. You have to prove to them that somehow, somewhere, you have this amount of money that could be available to you when you get to Italy. Now, who should have that money? You can have that money in your account because it's you that is traveling. Your parents, either of them, your dad or your mom, can have that money. They have your surname and they are your parents. In that case, they are now your sponsors. They give you a sponsorship letter. Anybody aside from these two people, the embassy is going to question, and they might not be comfortable with it. I don't think I've heard or seen anybody that have succeeded with any other person. Okay, it's usually either your parents or you yourself, and you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that that money is available for you. I'll explain why. Now, the amount that embassy wants is the amount that can take care of you for 1 year, like I mentioned before. And that amount is pinned at 7,000 euros. I won't be able to give you what this amount is in naira because you know how naira fluctuates. As at the time I came, this money was about 3.5 million. But today, as I'm talking to you, I think it's up to 6 million. So you see how naira fluctuates. But then you have to have this up to 7,000 euros. You have to have it in naira or not in euro, please. You have to have it in naira in either your account or your parents' account. If it is your parents' account, it is preferable because now your parents, either of them, maybe is working, has a job, a federal government job, maybe that receives salary, a salary in the account every month. All of them are, it's just a tip, it's a plus, it's an advantage.
Sorry, I'm not trying to cut you short, but what if it's in your sibling's account? Because it's still the same surname. Your parent may not have all that, but your elder one, cool.
It's possible. If it is in your siblings account, good and fine, you can still use it. But high recommendation, I place high recommendation on either of your parents. But if it's in your brother's account or your sister's account that has the same surname, you can also use it. But emphasis, recommendation on parents. Okay, so if you have this sorted out, taken care of, you don't have any other hitch whatsoever. So I'm going to quickly list the documents that you need for the visa so that it will be clear to you. Number one is all the documents you collected after legalization. All of them, no exemption. You're just going to package all of them together for the visa. The next is your international passport, of course. The next is your passport photo on white background, as always. Then, travel insurance. They usually ask for travel insurance. There are many companies, the insurance company in Nigeria. I know of one, the one that helped me out when I did mine, Allianz Insurance. I think they charged me about 9,000 naira to do the insurance, travel insurance. Now, the next is flight reservation. You have to reserve a flight. You're not paying for it, though. Remember, don't pay for it because you don't know when your visa is coming out and when you will travel. You can just reserve a flight, print it out, and submit it there. It is just going to tell the embassy, the person considering your application, this is when I want to travel. And since it's an educational this thing, a study visa you're applying for, you don't need to reserve a return flight, like to go and to come back. Because it's only you that know if you're coming back or if you're continuing your studies in Italy or any other place after that. So the reserve flight is just one way to go. The next is proof of accommodation in Italy. Now, this proof of accommodation, of course, they know that is your first time you're coming to study. There's no how you would have had an accommodation in Italy or rented an accommodation. No, it's not even advisable to rent an accommodation from Nigeria, an accommodation you have not seen or something. What we usually do at this point is to book a hotel reservation. Don't pay. Remember, emphasis, you don't pay. Just reserve. If you can go to Airbnb and reserve a room for yourself. Maybe you can even reserve it up to a month, up to 1 month. At least it will give the impression that you will be here until before the end of 1 month, you would have secured an apartment for yourself. That's just the essence. Okay, I've talked about proof of finance. That's your proof of fund before. Let me say some more things because that's usually where there's a problem on that proof of fund. Left for this proof of fund, you get your visa, but here you need to be very careful at it. If you're using a sponsor, like your parents, they will need 6 months bank statement from your sponsor because they want to see that money goes into that account and you did not just carry money, you don't just wake up because you want to apply for visa. You carry 6 million naira and whoop into the account. No. It already they will already start suspecting there's a foul play here. So they want to know that there is constant injection of income into that account. I know someone that used 2.5 million naira as proof of fund and the person got visa because they saw in the person's payslip there's constant income into their account. Okay. So the next is letter of introduction from the owner of account. The owner of account will write a letter of introduction. I'm this person, I'm the parent, I'm the brother, I'm the sister, and I'm the sponsor. I'm going to take care of this. I work here. I have this amount of money, and this and that and that. That's just it. It's like a sponsorship letter. Now, the next is the bank statement from the person's bank to show this money because from that bank statement, the trick there is embassy checks the pay slip that you submitted and that bank statement. They have to see the money on that pay slip being wired into that particular bank in the statement. They have to that's the only way to see that there is a feasible money that goes into the account. And not just goes into the account, the money also comes out, goes in. You understand what I mean? The account is just feasible.
Like the
If
account
your
is active.
yes, if your parents or your brother they don't work, they don't answer remotely, maybe they have a business. Now, if they own a business, you can just tell them register the business and get this thing they call CAC, Certificate of Corporation or something. If you get that certificate for a business owner, it's perfect. You attach the certificate alongside with the bank statement and all, and then they submit. They also bring a photocopy of ID, identity document of the person. It could be a passport or so. They also include it. If you have a property, or the person has a property, include it. The person has a land somewhere, because a land can be seen as something that an asset that can be sold tomorrow, and then you can use the money for what you want to do. So if you have a land property, put the documents there. Say I have in the letter, the sponsor can now say I have this property. Also, I've attached the document. So anything that will be able to convince the person considering your application that your source of income, your finance is genuine and is available to you. That's what you put for them. So at the time of visa application, like I mentioned earlier, there is no proof yet that you have a scholarship. Based on the timing of this scholarship, there is no proof yet at that time. So the only thing you rely on is your sponsor. If you're going for a PhD, at the time of this application, you already have your scholarship. So PhD guys or people that are going to PhD, you don't need to give any proof of fund. When I came, I didn't submit anything whatsoever, like proof of fund, because I have a, the only thing I gave them was the scholarship certificate. And in the scholarship certificate, they wrote the amount of money you're going to be paid every month, your accommodation, everything is there. So they do not require proof of fund again for PhD people. So that's that. If you are under 18 years old, you need a consent letter from your parents. For instance, you're going for a bachelor's degree and you're maybe 16 or 15. You need a letter from your parents, a consent letter. What else? At this point, for the visa application, okay, letter of intent. You too, you have to write a letter. In that letter, you convince the embassy that you really need this visa and you have everything it takes to get it. And you're going for this study. Your CV, you can include it there for them. And then if you were working already in Nigeria, if you have a job already, include your employment letter or your leave letter there. It's also an advantage. At least when they see your leave letter, they'll be like, okay, this person was working here. The person has constant inflow of money, and the person is definitely coming back to Nigeria after studies. So those are the things. Now, there's something embassy do. There's something the embassy do. This visa takes 15 working days before you get a response. 15 working days for them to either accept or deny you a visa. But then, at some point, they can give you, if they want to reject your application, they give you pre-rejection notice. That pre-rejection notice, they tell you the problem that your application has, and they give you 10 days to respond to them. Most of the pre-rejection notices I've seen is usually on this finance proof of fund. So they give you extra 10 days for you to solve the problem. Maybe the problem could be your sponsor did not submit CAC document, or your money is not up to the amount. So you have 10 days to fix the problem. And then they consider it again, whether they give you visa or deny you the visa. So that's that. After visa, what next? Once you obtain your visa, you are ready to travel. There is nothing else holding you back. The next thing you now start looking out for while you are preparing your stuff to travel is regional scholarships in the region where the university is for you to apply for. Okay? Depending on region where you're going, there are different scholarships for bachelor's degree, master's degree, depending on where you're going, vocational studies, there are scholarships for them. Now, in my region is called Puglia. There's a scholarship, and these scholarships are between 2,500 and 5,000 euro worth. Now, what does this scholarship provide? Provides for now I'm speaking for my own every day, and then it also provides you with a stipend. They pay you twice in a year. The first time the money comes, it's about 1,500 euro, and the second time is another approximately 1,500 euro. And this money is expected to be your stipend, like something that you could be, leveraging on if you want to buy clothes, buy more food, and all that, whatever you want to do, so that at the long run you will not be stranded in any way. So, how do you assess this regional scholarship? It's very important to understand how to assess it because it begins right there where you are in Nigeria. So before you arrive here, there's a document they call income document. You get it from any court in Nigeria, whether it is high court or magistrate court. In Nigeria, you go to the court, you ask them for it's an affidavit, declaration of income. You're going to be the one to declare it yourself there. It just states that uh, you are so and so person applying, you have gotten an admission, and then you have this number of siblings, you mention their names. I have these parents, you mention their names. This one has a job, and this is the amount that he receives. This one doesn't have a job. This one is a student. This one is not a student. You just mention those things because they help the Italian government here to produce another document for you they call ESE. They want to know how much you have and they want to know if they will be able to even give you the scholarship. If the income of your family is below a certain amount of money, definitely they are going to give you the scholarship. It means, okay, that's how it is. So when you get that income document from the court, later I will send a sample to Dr. and have to see how it looks like. If you get that income document, you also authenticate it. Now, the authentication is in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, not in education. It's not an educational document, like I already explained. You authenticate it in Ministry of Foreign Affairs, then you translate it to Italian. Now, after the translation, you don't legalize it. You don't give it to the Italian
Sorry,
embassy.
I just want to remind you that this program is not supposed to exceed and
Ah,
you
so how many
exhausted
minutes
up
do I
to
have now?
3 minutes already.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, I'm just wrapping up now. In less than 5 minutes, I'll be done. Okay, so this income document, when you translate it, you bring it along with you to Italy here. It's when you arrive in Italy that you now go to Nigerian embassy in Rome, in Italy. They legalize it for you, and you can use that document and apply for scholarship, the regional scholarship. Usually, in my own region, anybody that applies for the scholarship gets it. There is no competition. There is no exam to write. In my own region, there is no exam, there is no competition. You just apply and you get it. But some other regions, I know some other regions where you have to write an exam because there are too many, too many people. So if there are too many candidates for where you're going, too many students, much more than the individual scholarship can take, they will have to. There has to be an exam for you to write, and then they assess your performance and then know whether they are giving it to you or not. So that's how it is. And this is the end of it. And wishing anybody that wants to come to Italy success. It's actually very easy. There's no big deal. You just need to plan yourself very well and be timely about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Neju. We are very grateful. So there are actually some questions here for Q&A. And these questions are actually in the hands of many persons. First of all, I want to ask the exam you talked about, the TOLC exam you talked about. Is it time? Does it have duration of expiration? That is to say, if I take the exam this year and I want to make use of it in the next 3 years, can I still make use of it? Or it has to be that very year I'm going for admission to
Okay.
university?
The thing is, if you make your application to a particular university, it is now the university that will refer you to the TOLC. Now, there are several TOLCs. So the university will tell you this particular one you're going to write and give you the specific time that you're going to write that exam. And that
Okay.
exam now is just peculiar to that university. Okay?
Okay.
If you enter the CCIA website and see all these TOLCs, you see many universities on different TOLCs. So you cannot go and write an exam on TOLC for another university, different from the one you are applying to. So the
Okay.
university will send you a link. This is the particular exam you need to write. And this is the time that you're going to write it. They know when the result, in fact, when the result comes out, they don't even send it to you, they send it straight to the university.
And is it all the
Okay?
universities that ask for TOLC?
No, definitely not. There are several universities that don't even have TOEFL or TOLC. Your WAEC is enough, and your recommendation letters. There are universities like that. When you get into that universitali.it website, you see all this information. You see all those universities, and you see their requirements. And if I were you, I would just go for those universities that where there are no, too much stress in getting an admission. Like they will not be requiring this TOLC, they will not require this IELTS, and they are there. As it is, you just go for them.
Okay, I also heard that schools in the southern Italy that the competition there is less, so they don't require many of these things that you just mentioned. Is that true compared to those schools
Yes,
in?
yes, it's very true. My university, University of Bari, is in the south, and here there's they don't do exams for regional scholarship. They just want you to bring that document for them. Once you just give it to them, forget about it. Just pack your, they'll just admit you into the college. That's the school dormitory or something, and
Okay,
then
and
they give
that
you everything that you need.
okay. I also heard
Yeah.
that they have in the south, the population in the south it's lower compared to those in the north. So you also have better chances of getting job compared to the north. Is that true too?
Yes, job wise, it is true. Now, in the north, there are too many persons. The population in the north is more, much more than in the south. In fact, most Nigerians that come to Italy to study, they go to the north to study because the advantage that the north has is most of the universities that teach use English language as a medium for their courses are in the north. It's just very few of them in the south. That's why they don't come to the south. Now, in the south, there are very few. Chances of you getting a job as a student is higher. And as a student, in your student visa, they give you 20 hours per week to work and earn money for yourself. This one is aside from your scholarship. Your scholarship. So even as a student, you can earn a living for yourself and still do what you're doing. So your school self even knows about it and they allow you those hours. Your choice to go and work and do something for yourself. So then I think, if you ask me, there are more opportunities in the south than in the north. It's for you to identify those schools in the south where there's English courses. Courses are taught in English for you, and then apply to.
Okay, here too. You've not really spoken much about the vocational programs. So there are people that want to know what's up about vocational programs, like those that want to go and study music and related courses.
Okay,
So they
now
want
there
to
is
know about it.
for vocational studies, there is no. It's just in several universities where you have vocational studies on their own outside universities. But in most of the universities, they have the section, of vocational studies where if you want to do music, if you want to do dance, if you want to do culinary, that's cooking studies and all of them are available in most of the universities. And like I said, this information you get from that universitali.it, all of them are written there. If you want to, in my university where I am, Bari, I have seen, I didn't see through that university, I've seen structures for these vocational studies, music especially. I've seen arts, different forms of art, different skill acquisition centers. They have names for them. And the thing is, even though they are not with these universities like that, you can still access these regional scholarships to study those vocational trainings and studies. These scholarships are still available for them because these regional scholarships they function independently from the universities. Okay? The only thing they need to know is okay, you're a student, you have given them a document that shows that you're a student. What you are studying is not even is not their this thing. They work independently. Okay. At the end of your first year, if you want to renew your scholarship, they just ask you, give us your results. Let us at least know that you are studying. doing well, and they give you another, they renew your scholarship for you. That's how it is.
So I can get scholarship for dancing. That's what it means.
Yes, yes. The only thing is be admitted and then get all these documents, income documents and all, like I've said. And then get the, like I said, the scholarship is independent of the universities and the vocational centers. You can be in a hostel and you wake up one morning, you want to talk with maybe you have a roommate. You discover that your roommate is in athletics, plays only football. That's what the person is doing. And the person is using the same scholarship. You're thinking you are in the same room with a fellow student. And the person doesn't even have books, not to talk of, you know. So that's how it is. Yeah, your network went off at some point.
Okay, I was saying you've been talking about regional scholarships. Do you also have university-based scholarships?
Yes, but that is at PhD level. I am doing my PhD currently, and I am using the scholarship from the university. I'm not using the regional scholarship. And the
Oh,
way it runs is, as a PhD student, you cannot have two scholarships at the same time. You cannot be using the university scholarship and you're also using the regional scholarship. Definitely, you have to choose one that you want. Okay, and as far as PhD is concerned, the best is to have the university scholarship or scholarship from an industry also. They have names for them. So the regional scholarship is basically for bachelor's degree. It's called Trenali here. Master's degree is called Magistrale. Yeah. So that's how it is.
well, the way you're speaking the Italian language is as though it's really easy to learn.
It's okay.
Okay, so I don't know what to say, but for those that are interested in studying in Italy, you can see it's not a big deal.
If you
And
if you want to study in Italy, if you come to Italy to study, it's not a matter of choice. In less than 6 months, give or take, you start speaking Italian. It's just that easy. Okay, it's very easy. And the good thing is, if you know how to speak Italian, you know how to speak Espanol, that's Spanish, because both of them are in fact almost the same.
um,
You can hear French a little bit, but you might not be able to speak it. In 6 months or less, if you just tell yourself, okay, I'm here, I need to learn, just communicating with people and listening to them, the language will get into your subconscious
okay,
without.
very really. Okay, so very important to also note. There are people that did HND too, and they are like, "Can I go for masters? Is that possible?"
Definitely, that's another difference between the Nigerian educational system and the Italian system here. In Nigeria, they'll tell you, okay, because you have HND, you need to do PGD, postgraduate diploma first before you do a master's degree. It's not so here. There are some universities, I can give you a list of them later, where they accept your OND and HND for a master's degree straight. You don't need to do, there's nothing like a postgraduate diploma here, not to talk of you doing it.
Okay.
In fact, to assess a master's degree in Italy, you need a bachelor's degree of at least 3 years. So all the universities in we that we are coming from Nigeria, Nigerians like overdoing things. We are more than qualified for the position that we are even applying for. For instance, in my course in Nigeria, bachelor's degree is 5 years. Okay. So imagine you have 5 years and they only want 3 years. And then HND, you already have 2 years from OND and you have 2 years from HND, that's 4 years. If you now include your 1 year that you used to do your IT, that's five. That's enough experience for you to assess a master. So there is a long list of universities that accept OND and HND for master's degree straight.
Okay, okay, that's beautiful. I think we'll be closing the curtain here, and just one more. If you have any advice for the students in Nigeria generally on applying for scholarships, especially in Italy, you can say it now. And I also want to state that all the websites he talked about will be including that in our description box so that you can access the website. And there will be a subsequent video where he would also show us how to navigate around the website so that it's going to make things easier for the students down here. So, yeah,
Okay.
guys.
Well, like a final advice, if you want to do this, if you have the point that, in fact, the fact that you've conceived it in your mind already, it's like a shorty that you want it, and I believe you can achieve it. Don't be scared about anything. Don't let the whole, maybe some things that I mentioned like proof of fund and how to scare you. No, no. If you want to do it, it's quite easy and simple. You have your phone, you have your laptop. Just start on time. You can target next year as it is. Start now to get your documents one after the other. Get them one after the other. Get them together. There are not several of them. And then there is no how you will not get it. Like I said, so far you have conceived it in your mind, you will achieve it. Just go for it. It's really nice if you come to Italy to do your master's degree or bachelor's degree. Not just about the studying it here in Italy. It opens the world to you. With the certificate you get from here, the sky is only your starting point. You can move to anywhere in the world with the certificate. That's it.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. I don't know if there are still questions from our audience, but if there is none, we'll be cutting here, and then we'll also upload the subsequent video where he would take us through the navigation on the web page. So you can see, I mean, everything is possible. You just need to be determined. For some persons, they say, so I will need to go to Abuja, I'll go and do this one, I'll go and translate this one. I don't have the time. See, the truth of the matter is, if you want to get to the peak in life, you just have to be committed to it, and definitely you will have it. So, for all that he has said, especially if you're applying to schools in southern Italy, it's very, very possible for one, for you to get the admission, and then subsequently for you to get the scholarship. And I also want to believe that the scholarship in question covers both feeding and accommodation, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes, I mentioned it. Yeah.
Okay, so with that, I mean, you don't have any problem again if your feeding and your accommodation is covered. With the stipend that you're also giving, you can just, you can even become a millionaire when you're coming back, if you intend to come back actually. If you save the stipend, I mean, that's big money for you to take like 1.5 two times a month, and that's going to be 3,000 euros, if I'm not mistaken. So
Exactly.
3,000
You can
by
make more than that because you can be
you can
working.
really make money from the stipend, apart from the fact that you have some hours to work and also beef up. So it's very, very possible. So instead of just staying in Nigeria and complaining, or any other African country and complaining and complaining and complaining, man, you can take a step. There are opportunities out there, and that's what you can Foundation for Youth Development it's out to expose to us. So thank you very much, Mr. Nidu. It's
Yeah.
glad to have you.
Okay,
And
just to mention, please, I saw someone asked a question to list the documents that I've listed before. I prepared this presentation I made. I prepared something where you have all the information that you need. I'll send it to Dr. Chineye so that she can give to everybody.
I'll put everything he has mentioned on the description box. The list of documents, the website, the link, the email address that you need to write to the embassy with everything will be on
Yeah.
the description box. Okay, so thank you.
Okay.
Any other question?
Thank you very much. I've sent it. It's with you now.
Okay, okay. Have a lovely day. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.